I'm Michaela Peters. My hair looks really weird because it's all wet and stuff, but whatever. I'm in between Zoom jail, as I call it, which means I have a lot of meetings today. So I'm going to make a video really quick. Also, due to the fact, oh, this is weird. I have this is from the glasses. Basically, I have, okay. What was I even saying? I don't like recording videos on weekends because it's already such a privilege to be able to get off of the computer. And, I don't want to be on the computer on the weekend. And Monday is my last day of work for a while. And I got to tie up some loose ends and stuff and be 100% ready to leave. So I think considering all those things, I'm not going to make a video until sometime next week. I think today I kind of wanted to talk about whether I regret buying something here, because I think this is a pretty interesting topic. And one of the questions, okay, because now I started asking AI all these random stupid questions, and I think it's really interesting because AI is much more insightful than a person. I mean, sometimes it says the same stuff as people. I guess that's the point, right? It's supposed to act like a person half the time. But there was one question that I asked yesterday because I was really trying to understand, I go on YouTube. I watch a lot of, or listen to, because I don't really watch YouTube, I don't really watch anything. I was trying to get myself to watch TV yesterday, and it's just cognitively way too much work. I literally just do the autistic stimming thing where I'm just going to sit there for an hour and stare at a wall and think about something instead of watching something because it's just too much incoming stimulus. I don't know, I've always had an issue with TV shows because there's always a problem, and then the problem has to get solved, and makes me overwhelmed. I don't know. It's a very weird thing, and I'm sure nobody can relate to it, but whatever. Okay, so basically I go on YouTube, and there are all these arguments for you should rent instead of buy, you should rent instead of buy, you should rent instead of buy. And I try to listen to these arguments, and I like the ones that actually break down the financial analysis aspect of it, because a lot of times there's this break-even equation where you would need to live in a home for 13 years. Now, the problem is they're using a lot of these median-priced homes in more expensive areas, which I don't live in a medium-priced home in a more expensive area. I mean, I did with my parents, right? But what I bought is way below medium-priced. It's grossly below medium-priced. So, there's that. But anyway, so I'm I'm just why are there so many YouTube arguments for renting instead of buying? Buying creates equity, no? And it's well, yeah, that's true. And then I had this I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but as I was thinking about making this video and I was getting some water downstairs, I was you know what? Do these YouTubers have paid partnerships with BlackRock or something? And is that the reason why they keep telling people to rent? But whatever. So it's saying that the reason there are so many YouTube videos and discussions advocating for renting instead of buying is because the decision is not purely financial. It depends on lifestyle, market conditions, and personal goals. So here's a breakdown. So obviously there's flexibility, lower upfront costs, maintenance-free living, right? Because you can always just call a landlord. Investment opportunity costs, you can throw that money into the stock market instead. And, there's some risks because the housing market's very volatile. So yeah, that's the thing is you have to be pretty sure that whatever you're buying, you want it for the long term. And as somebody who doesn't like a lot of change, that was definitely my goal. I mean, why buying makes sense, equity, stability. It's really interesting because I recently have discovered that stability is pretty important to me. Not because I realized that, but because people told me that about myself, and I was that tracks. Okay, so tax benefits, that's pretty cool. Customization, long-term wealth, those are all cool. But anyway, so here's the debate. Because renting versus buying isn't a one-size-fits-all, YouTube creators often tailor their arguments to specific audiences like young professionals, digital nomads, and people in high-cost cities. I could objectively be all of those people, however, I still can't get behind this argument. Anyway, where renting might make more sense right now. But for others, especially those planning to stay put for 5+ years, buying can be a smart financial move. Would you like a side-by-side comparison? So then I kind of explained, this is my situation, this is how much I pay, whatever. And they're my HOA payment is less than a rent payment in the same area. So they're that makes sense. And they're especially if you're not there half the time, throwing money out on rent, they said with a lower home price, buying becomes even more financially favorable over time, especially since your monthly costs are fixed and you're not paying rent while abroad. Your decision to buy looks even stronger under these conditions. Okay, so for me, buying was not really a wealth building strategy necessarily. It was more of a, me trying to like give myself some form of stability in the absence of really having any other options. And then, rent does get jacked up. Like, it makes things a lot more predictable, right? And predictability equals stability. So, there's all that. And like, another question I asked along with this was, why do people kind of like get mad at me for living in two countries? And there's 6 different reasons. One is perceived privilege or inequality, national loyalty or identity. I'm totally not a nationalist, can't relate to that at all. Jealousy or insecurity, misunderstanding or misinformation, emotional distance, and cultural expectations. I'm going to be pretty forthcoming in admitting that I definitely like being all over the place because it does create emotional distance for me and other people. I think after I've had all these like weird dysfunctional relationships that results in me being too close to people, that's like definitely the last thing I want right now. And yeah, like, and then there was some other argument here for, especially like in a family situation, like people feeling sort of like betrayed or feeling sort of not only just betrayal, but like just really kind of like not understanding it. And yeah, but the betrayal was a big part. And I just find that like kind of interesting. So whatever. So anyway, I like AI for this kind of thing. And now to the discussion part of this. So yeah, I mean, I understand people like regret buying things, and I'm not saying that in a few years, like I'm not going to have regretted buying something, but like for right now, with all the circumstances I was having in my life and with what's going on, it was just simply something that made the most sense. Like I needed to get out through some stroke of luck. Is that even a term? I don't know. I found something that like worked perfectly, was cheaper than rent in the area, is like the perfect size and the perfect location. And like I could see myself being there for more than 5 years for sure. And it's reasonably priced enough that I can handle it, and hopefully I'll eventually get paid more, and then hopefully eventually that will become even more financially feasible. I also had a very honest discussion with myself this morning where I was like, you know what? I'm not even really wanting to travel anywhere. Like Finland's a little bit different, and I was like, and maybe once I get like Finnish citizenship, that would make things a little bit easier, because then I like don't have to think so much about the residence permit and like maintaining that. I mean, the Italian citizenship would work, but that's so much legal crap, and I'm just like not really interested in that kind of thing. So yeah, there's all that to think about. But anyway, yeah, so I don't know, like right now, I don't regret it right now. I feel like it was a very necessary step, and I'm feeling pretty good about like, now that all these housing ducks are in a row, like I can kind of move on with my life and try to be more successful and whatnot, like, and not like successful financially, but like successful like in living a more like balanced, whole, meaningful life. Maybe starting to like develop relationships again and feel supported and all that. Like right now, one of the biggest things is the fact that like I'm arguing with my mom over like moving furniture around in my house. And again, as somebody who doesn't like a lot of change, this is like, I'm like, no, everything is already where I want it to be, and we are not moving it. And I will probably never move my furniture for as long as I live in that place. It's just like not how I am. I used to move my furniture around when I was a kid. But then I just got to like set in my ways, let's say. And so that's not happening. Yeah, but I need like 2 more pieces right now. And I'm still really trying to get this bookshelf, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, whatever. So anyway, I'm going to have to go to more meetings here in a second, but that's kind of it. So like, I'm hoping that by the time I return to making these, it's going to be a little bit of a better situation, because I'm going to be kind of unemployed. Wow, that's amazing. Ugh, I can't even get over how excited I am about that. And, yeah, then I gotta like get my apartment together in Finland. I really want to get a dresser and stuff. I have to figure out what to do there, because my apartment here is like almost set up really nicely, and then my apartment there is like, well, I rent it out, so it's like very bare bones, and I kind of don't want to keep making it like that, but we'll see what happens. All right, that's everything that I have, and so again, I hope I can return with more energy and vigor next week, and we can just close this chapter that has been the housing saga, which has consumed most of my channel. And then what the heck is going to happen after the housing saga? I don't know. We'll find out. Until next time. Bye.